And what's happening, people? It's everyone's a pundit. This is episode 86. Boy, I've never been that excited for a show as I am today, because there's so much to talk about. I don't know why I'm smiling, but I'm still smiling because it's my show, innit? I'm your host. I'm Semps. This is Everyone's a Pundit, episode 86, as I said. And we got some new guests today. Let me let them introduce themselves. If I can start with Pete down below to my bottom left.
Yes. Pete, as you can see, at Dave's 2010, Newcastle United fan and representative of Loaded Mag.
Wicked. I'll get the Loaded Mag link in the description, people. Also introduce you to our next guest. Please introduce yourself.
You're right, guys. My name's Curran. That's there at Curran BOP. I'm a host of Ball Over Passion, and I'm an Arsenal fan. So it's going to be fun, especially with the guy above me. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it.
Wicked. And for those of you that are listening on to the audio, the guy above him is Come True.
Yes, what's happening, people? It's Patrick Tyrant. Alexa, how do you say it's Conte time in Italian?
It's content time. In Italian is è tempo di contenuto.
Way! It's Conte time, baby! It's Conte time! Let's go!
This guy is gas. That's Patrick Tyrant, aka Young Swaggy Daniels, people. Let's go. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well. And if you do end up liking this show, hit the notification bell so you never miss Everyone's a Pundit. Let's get into today's episode. We are missing somebody. I will cuss him off because he's late. Daps is meant to be here, Man City fan. We'll see what happens with him. But anyway, if we was to look at this weekend's fixtures, Southampton 1, Aston Villa 0. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 2, and this was at Old Trafford. We are definitely going to be talking about that game. Brentford 1, Norwich 2. Norwich got their first win and still sacked their manager. It's a madness. We'll touch on that very briefly. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. A bit of a mad result. I don't think anybody saw that coming, especially when you watch the game. But then again, you see these things happen, isn't it? Team don't take their chances, end up with a draw. Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 0. My man is doing things over there, Patrick. So hope he keeps it going. Brighton 1, Newcastle 1. We're definitely going to be talking about that, Pete, and all of what's been going on over there as well, getting your thoughts on that. Then we move on to today as well, boy. Arsenal 1, Watford 0. Curran is waiting, itching to get into this one. We're going to get into that. And Arsenal, Arteta, all of that. Everton 0, Tottenham 0. Don't know. Pat's going to explain how that game went. But as you can see, he's happy anyway from what's happened this week. Leeds 1, Leicester 1. And then the last game of the weekend, which was an absolute blockbuster and probably where we're going to start today, lads. Although we don't have a Liverpool fan on or a West Ham fan, we are going to start with that game. It's West Ham 3, Liverpool 2. Let me come over to yourself first, Pete. That was a very, very big result for West Ham. What are your thoughts on David Moyes and, how he's done over there?
Well, you can't say anything.
Pete?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. You know what? For David Moyes' point of view, you can't say anything but he's done a fantastic job in turning West Ham around. For a guy that was at West Ham, got sacked, then got brought back a year later, and then has made them into a really, really good team to watch. More than anything, I really enjoyed watching that game today. It's probably one of the most entertaining games I've watched, not being a fan of either club. Really, really enjoyed that. And, I tweeted out during the game because there's obviously a lot of fans, and in particular on my timeline, a lot of Newcastle fans that were bigging up West Ham, and rightly so. And I tweeted out and I said, West Ham are a team built full of athletes, but not just any athletes that are running themselves into the ground every single game for each other. They're working as a team unit. They're working together for each other. They're non-stop runners. You could see on the counter-attack, they were powering through Liverpool. If it wasn't for Van Dijk, that game could have been out of sight a long time before it was. And they're really, really interesting to watch. They've got that little sprinkle of quality with Fornells and one or two in the team that have got that technical ability to produce something magical when needed. But they've got pure athletes. You've got Zuma at the back. You got all the way through to Declan Rice, all the way through to then Antonio. That spine of the team is just full of running, full of power. And you know what? An outsider looking in, it's really good to see a team that's willing to go toe to toe with the likes of Liverpool and really sort of put it to them, because I don't think many teams have done that over the last few years.
No, they haven't. You're right. Curran, what? I don't know if you got to see. You probably wouldn't, because you was at your own game today, so you didn't get to see the game. But you've been on a great run yourself. But would you put this great run down to David Moyes and the fact that he's been able to build such a great squad?
I mean, I caught a bit about the last 25 to 30 minutes just in the pub afterwards, but from what I saw and watching the highlights on the train home, in terms of your question, I think it's to do with very structured and very well built squad. A lot of clubs are out. Forget about West Ham for a second. A lot of clubs in the top 6, top half, what they're not realizing is you have to build together in terms of multiple years with a manager to create a philosophy of playing forward and defending. You can't just say, okay, we're going to bring a new manager in, 2-3 signings, and off we pop. What West Ham have done, and what they're going to continue to do, is they're going to play David Moyes football. They're going to set up compact, they're going to attack with freedom, and they're going to keep it tight in the middle. They don't have insane players. I mean, look at the midfield. Declan Rice is a superstar, but Thomas Souček next to him, I mean, if you put him in a lot of teams, even say you put him in United's team, you know what, screw it, we talk about United too much. Just put him in Leicester's team, for example, right? I don't think he has the same impact, but the fact of the matter is the pivot they have is balanced. They have a lot of balance in their teams. The partnerships have balance. And if you have balance in your team and your players that understand their roles and know what to do, then you can progress and then you can go forward. Then you can take a team going forward. So at this moment in time, they're doing great. If you're looking at what you're going to do going forward, I need to see what's going to happen in February, March, when the Europa League starts to take its toll, if they start to accumulate injuries, because we've seen Leicester do this past couple of seasons. But in terms of West Ham, I attribute their run to great squad building, a good disciplined manager, and a team that actually knows what they're doing going forward and in defence. So yeah, I'm very happy with them at the moment.
Just touching on what Curran said, Pete. You support Newcastle, which is in a situation where, you're going to need to build and maybe stick with a manager. Yeah. We are going to get on to you guys in a little bit, but would you like to see you stick with a manager like West Ham have stuck by David Moyes?
Definitely. And I think we will. I think, we'll talk about Newcastle in a second in our predicament that we're in at the moment with our manager. But I think that's exactly the line of what these new owners are looking to do. They're looking to invest in a manager, to say, look, you're our manager. We want you to build something at this club. And boy, we've needed it. We had it under Rafa Benitez, but we had an owner that didn't like the manager, because the manager would push him to its limits, because the manager wanted better for our club, and the owner didn't. It was that simple. So one of them had to leave. It was always going to be the manager. So we've been crying out for someone to build a team over a number of years with his own vision. And I think we're going to do that. But exactly, I think that's what any club wants at the moment. You look at other managers that have lost their jobs in recent weeks. That's what every club's looking for. They're looking for that manager to build something special. And West Ham have done that. They've not spent huge amounts of money. They've not spent Everton amounts of money, Man United amounts of money. But what they've done, they've bought wisely. The one thing I'll add to what Curran said is that the one thing I worry about, and Curran's absolutely right, is that when it gets into sort of February time, and the Europa League starts to kick in the big rounds with the big teams that are coming, their squad is paper thin. They lose one or two of their players from their first 11. They're not the same team, and they've proven that, last season. So that's going to be something of a test for them. And it'll be interesting to see whether they reinvest in January to bring players in to bolster that squad, knowing they're going to be fighting on a number of fronts.
Fantastic. We've got some West Ham fans in the comments there. Penny Lawless and Rippleway. I know if there are any others, maybe drop your comments in and touch on what Pete and Curran have just said with regards to what happens when February comes. Pat, moving on to yourself, I've got a question there. Will the Hammers finish top 6 this season? What are your thoughts on that, as well as what these guys have said with regards to the Europa League? I don't know what you're smiling for.
No, I was going back and forth with at Hammer this week on Twitter, Roy. So shout out to Roy. We were having, I wouldn't say a heated debate, but we were talking about the Tottenham West Ham thing, and I said he was being a bit cheeky, really. I was like, they're on a good run. You lot have had a good year, and you're doing well this year, but just remember who you are and that you're West Ham. Because basically the joke started about trophies, and he was like dissing Tottenham and their trophy cabinet. And I was like, I understand Tottenham haven't won a trophy in a while, I get it, but West Ham have won 4 trophies in their history. So I was like,
Bruv, calm yourself and respect West Ham, please.
How can
it's been 5,000 days, fam. 5,000 days.
Yeah, so it's a long time. But to be fair, I mean, that's just, something else. But West Ham are doing well. And I said it. I mean, to be honest, even though I'm a Spurs fan, I give West Ham their credit. And I said it at the beginning of the season. I said the only, after Chelsea, the second best team in London is West Ham. And I had a lot of Tottenham fans and Arsenal fans and other fans saying, oh, what are you talking about? How could you say that? But the proof is in the pudding. West Ham finished above both of us last year. And right now, they're still above both Tottenham and Arsenal. So they're a good team, man. They're on a good run. Will they finish in the top 6? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I know they're doing really well right now, but it's a long season and there's a lot of good teams, man. I'd say there's 4 strong teams. I'd still put Man United in that bracket of the 4th best team. And then after that, there's a lot of teams fighting for the rest of the top 6 places. So your Leicesters, your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, your West Ham. So there's not that many spaces for these top 6 teams. It's difficult, but to be fair, no one can question them. To beat Liverpool today, that showed good character and good spirit. It was 1-1, and they took the game to them. When they were 1-0 up, they were kind of like on the back foot. I'm getting a bit of feedback here, but they
Keep going. I'm gonna.
Sorry. Yeah. So when they were 1-0 up, Liverpool had them on the ropes. But after Liverpool scored, West Ham were definitely the better team. They were more controlled. They were dangerous on the counter. They played some good football, and they hit Liverpool every time on the counter. And they didn't have a lot of the ball, but when they did have the ball, they were dangerous with their possession. They had intent. Do you know what I mean? They knew what they were doing, and that's credit to David Moyes, to be honest. I mean, after he got sacked at Man United, he was down and out. And I remember when they appointed David Moyes, a lot of West Ham fans weren't happy with the reappointment. And he's just going to show, if you believe in a manager, believe in his philosophy, and actually back him, what he can do there. And they're doing good things, man. They're doing good things.
Wicked. Daps, you've entered coming in shouting as you usually do, but you're late as you usually are. So next time we need to see you on time, please, because we're always on time when we're on your show. But anyway, big up that we've got Daps in the building from Never a Foul. Daps, I want to get your go on.
You know what it is, right? And you I'm sure you can relate to this one.
All right, the kids, little one.
My missus was out
All right, we know.
And I fell asleep putting her to bed.
Say no more. Say no more. We let you off. But Daps, your thoughts on Liverpool, man? Like they conceded three goals. They conceded 3 goals today. Obviously, you being a City fan, you were happy with the result. But do you think that their defense has looked a little shaky this season? Because I've had a few people talk about their defense. What are your thoughts on it?
So I was at my godchildren's birthday watching it with several Scousers, which was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was singing Forever Blowing Bubbles and everything. And if anyone that doesn't know, City and West Ham fans have got this real mutual respect for each other. They're actually like, we get on genuinely.
Why is that? Well, in fact,
do you know what? I don't really fully know. Someone, probably a West Ham fan or a really old school City fan will be able to tell you it. But if you deep it on Twitter, you will see a lot of West Ham fans will have in their bio with a soft spot for Manchester City. And it's kind of this mutual respect thing. With Moyes, I think what Moyes has done at West Ham is actually reminding us how good he was at Everton, right? Really and truly.
Yeah.
And as for Liverpool, Liverpool and Chelsea these last 2 weekends have just done us favours massively. Both of them out of nowhere dropping points. And you're right. They are looking a bit sloppy at the back, but I might say that might not be their defence necessarily, and that might be more the DM situation there.
Okay.
Because that's where I think they're looking their weakest at the moment, is in the middle. Kind of
where they
can't
got
put my finger on
Henderson, Fabinho. Did Thiago play from the start today? He didn't, did he? Anybody?
If he did, I didn't see him, but I haven't seen him much for a year and a half. So, but even their third goal, I mean, Van Dijk. I mean, maybe I'm expecting too much from Superman, but the third goal, from the corner, where was Van Dijk? I just saw.
Sorry. The Ox played today, didn't he? The Ox. That's it. The Ox was there. The Ox played. I don't know, man. I think Matip and Van Dijk. That doesn't usually, I think they were more solid when they had Gomez there. He's had his injury problems.
Do you know what? That's an interesting one though, because I could compare that to City with probably. I would say that Matip for me is a better defender than Gomez, right? I would also say that Laporte is a better defender than John Stones. However, the John Stones-Diaz partnership works a hell of a lot better than the Laporte. And I think probably the same for Liverpool. And sometimes it might... anyone should respect Van Dijk. Yeah, but I think they are... I mean, look, Liverpool shifting 3 at West Ham. I was massively screaming on Football Terrace on Friday that West Ham were going to get smoked by Liverpool. But I'm very happy that it's the other way around, so...
Wicked, man. So that's the Liverpool and West Ham game. West Ham keep marching on. You West Ham fans in the comments, keep blowing them bubbles tonight. We'll move on.
Just quickly, before we do. That's another season. No Invincibles. We're all good again. Everyone's cool. Everyone's calm.
Everyone's come up here talking about Invincibles.
Already, though.
You must really want us to run banter on you, boy.
But that's really early in the season for that to happen, right? For every team to be out of it.
Yeah.
I think it just shows how competitive the league is this year.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of teams. Obviously, you've got the top 4 that are pushing, or the supposed top 4 anyway. But then you got a good clutch of teams, 5-6 teams that are really pushing this year, pushing the top teams. So
there's no gimme games. There's no gimme games this year.
None.
It's just Norwich, and they just did in Brentford. So
and us as well. I mean, look, we're the only team in the league to not have won a game. So you've got to throw us in the hat there. Hopefully that doesn't last for much longer though.
Yeah. No, just looking, man. See, Milan scored 2 against Liverpool. Brentford scored 3. City scored 2, which is thing. Atletico 2. Brighton scored 2, and then obviously we got West Ham who scored 3 today. So they're leaking some goals, man. And you know what? Big up to West Ham, because you look at their goal difference. They're like, what would we say, like plus 10 or something at the moment.
Yeah,
plus,
they're doing well. Man.
Plus 10 goal difference. We got to give them credit, because it's funny because Pat was getting angry at people trying to give West Ham credit over Spurs. You still feeling like that now, Pat?
No, listen. What I said is that I said after the top four, it is a shootout, and I still stand by that. I said after the top four, as in the supposed top four this year, and Man United, I'll still put them in there because even though you guys aren't on a good run of form, your squad is still ridiculous. And I think if a manager comes in, you guys will comfortably make the top four. But then I said after that, the rest of the teams are kind of there or thereabouts. And I know West Ham fans will be a bit aggrieved at me because they finished above us last year. But Tottenham, Arsenal, Leicester, West Ham, they're kind of there, or it's much of a muchness, and it just depends who goes on a better run.
I think the fact that Arsenal beat Leicester 3-0 the other week kind of shows that as well, because who would usually, Arsenal to go and beat Leicester 3-0 over the last couple of years, you ain't seeing that happen. So the fact that can happen,
we usually do okay away at them though.
Between the four of you.
But
we usually do okay away at them though. At home we struggle against them. Yeah.
Let's move on to Arsenal, Curran. Let's move on to Arsenal because Arsenal won Watford 0. Bit of a dodgy goal. That's how the people are calling you a classless club. Maybe you can comment on that. But you know what? If we was to start this on a positive note for Arsenal, you lot are on a great run. I think that's, as I said on Twitter, that's what 20 points out of 20 points out of a possible 24. 3 straight Premier League wins. Talk to us, man. How are you feeling?
Bro, it's nice. It's nice to go to the Emirates. Like I don't know if it comes across on the TV. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the games. The last couple of games, it's a cauldron now. It's not like there's no more library, none of this nonsense. It's a cauldron of noise. It's mental. Like a lot of like a similar thing with West Ham just happened. Their stadium is starting to lift up again. It feels like people are coming together. And look, I'm not going to gas too much. Like, I'm not going to go crazy on this. I mean, my predictions are my prediction. Anyone who knows me knows where I stand. I still think we're getting top 4. I still have said that before the season. I said that. I can say August 11th, I said we're going to get top 4. So I still think that's the case. I predicted this United drop. You could see from the balance of their squad. We'll get into it in a bit, but
what are we talking about United for? We're asking you about Arsenal.
I know. It's Arsenal. Arsenal is top 4, but as Patrick said, who's the main competition right now? It's United. So if you're going to mention the top 4 race, then you've got to mention all the contenders. So in terms of, but let's forget about the top 4. Let's talk about the game itself. The goal you mentioned, right? The classless goal, right? So. If you look at that goal, what happened was is their man went down, got back up. We gave them they gave us the ball back because we were in possession. They kicked it out. We were in possession. They tackled us and then they kicked it out. So that's what that's in possession then. So we were in possession, and then They wanted the ball back, even though they stole the ball off us, and we after we stopped playing for their player. So the fact of the matter is that what happened was we had the ball, we stopped playing for them, they took the ball and kicked it out, and then we got the ball back because we were in possession, and then we scored. So at the end of the day, we started the thing with possession. We were good, we were cool to them, and then we took back possession and we scored. And it wasn't like we scored instantly either. There was a whole sequence of events.
Yeah, there was.
And then there was a whole sequence of events that happened. And then eventually the Lacazette shot, and then it came out, and then it went to Smith Rowe, and he went and he scored. And again, Emil, 6 goals and assists. The top scoring. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists. He's one of the best English midfielders in the league right now.
England squad though.
It's silly. It's silly. And if Southgate's excuse was ridiculous, we want to keep him in the 21s because we want him to bond. Bullshit. Yeah. I'm sorry, but it was bullshit.
Now maybe so, but as an Arsenal fan, see that as a say thank you for that.
Honestly, I am saying thank you, but it's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, this is the whole thing I think with Arsenal at the moment and the run you're going on. Let other people respect you, and because I respect it massively what you're doing at the moment, and I'm not the biggest fan of Arsenal because a lot of my friends are, but ride it, be humble about it, and the same with this situation with Smith Rowe. See it as that's cool. because he'll nail down. It's not going to go to his head or nothing, and he's going to keep doing what he's doing. If he started playing for England, it's just one of them things where the media will be talking his name. All of a sudden, look, he's playing for Arsenal. The media will be on him if he starts playing for England. More pressure on him, and just think, cool. It's probably a good thing for you.
Yeah, this comment, Adasha Sports has made a great comment, because I think it's nailed on what my mate's saying here is. It is a blessing in disguise, because even though he is going to the 21s, I think it keeps him hungry. It keeps him wanting to reach that next level. And I'm not gonna lie, he's not perfect. There's things that I see, like sometimes in transition, his final ball can be a bit lacking. There are things that he can improve on. Like, I'm not saying he's like, oh my god, he's Foden levels, he's levels above everyone. No, he's still got things he needs to improve on. Him and Bukayo today made Danny Rose. Bad words need to come into what happened. He did to Danny Rose. He completely did him consistently again and again. And the thing is, we didn't have Partey, no Partey, and no Xhaka either. And we still, I mean, obviously it is Watford, and they weren't.
I was just about to say it was Watford.
It was Watford. But the thing is, the point I was going to make is that people expected us, when we lose one or two injuries, that it's just we're going to drop points, things will capitulate. But it's not. We're still going on runs. 70% possession at halftime, 61% at full time. Even with the Aubameyang penalty miss and 2 disallowed goals, they didn't have a viable opportunity the entire game. Our defense is brilliant. Ben White was amazing. Gabriel and him forming a great partnership. And even our fullbacks, like Tomiyasu, had a pretty poor first half, but he saw that he was struggling, and he just raised his level in the second half. And you have players like Ismail Assar, who's been regarded as one of the best outlets in the league this season. He's been scoring goals, he's hitting, and Tavares had him in his pocket so much that he tried to go on the right side and still got no joy. Like they just didn't have enough in the game. To be honest, Josh King was lauded. I was a bit worried for Josh King. I thought it'd be 2-0, but it was. What I'm annoyed with is people saying is we scraped it. It was not a scrape. We dominated that game, and the goals were just either offside or missed penalties or this that.
You won the game.
We won the game.
I don't think that was a scrape type of victory. Pete, wanted to get your thoughts on, you're new to Everyone's a Pundit, but very regularly on here, you've got Pat calling Arteta the water boy, and Arsenal get very little respect on the show at times. What are your thoughts on the run, and can they really keep this form going?
Thoughts on the run? I think with the teams that they've played, it's to be expected. I think maybe sort of not Liverpool, sorry, Leicester aside, because they obviously played Leicester away, and it was I watched that game. It was a fantastic win. They played really, really well that day. Apart from maybe Leicester aside, you would expect a team of Arsenal stature to win those games. So I'm not overly surprised they've been on that run. I think when they start to play some of the bigger teams, I think that's when they're going to really get tested.
They've got Liverpool next game after the international break.
There you go.
That's a big test. That's a big test.
Liverpool are wounded right now. They've got 2 weeks now to prepare and plan to how they're going to hit back. And for all we know, Arsenal could be the victims in that situation. If you're asking me about Arteta, personally, I just think Arteta's part of a phase. If you're asking Arteta to build a project, I don't think he will. That's just my opinion. I don't think he'll be successful in building a project. I think he'll build a phase for Arsenal to a certain point, because Arsenal have been sort of at their lowest point since Wenger left. They've been sort of like dragged through the mud, effectively. They've had to rebuild their squad right from the ground up. And I think he's a part of that process. But I think you're going to get to a point, and it could possibly be within the next year, where you're going to think, right, okay, he's done his bit. You know, he's built where as much as he could, and maybe it's time to then move on for another manager to come in and take you to the next level, to take you back up to the top four, to take you back to where you could be potentially challenging those guys. Do I think Arsenal will get Champions League this season? No, because I just think they'll become inconsistent. They always have these moments in the season. They'll have these run of games where it's a bit like Man United. They'll have those run of games where they'll beat teams you'd expect them to beat, and it'll be a case of, you know, oh, they're back, they're doing bits, they're going to get this, they're going to get that, but then they'll drop off again and they'll have an inconsistent period. Unfortunately, they're just like that, and I don't believe that Arteta is the guy that's going to make them more consistent. That's just, like I say, it's just my opinion. I think you need another manager that's going to actually take you guys and take the likes of Smith Rowe and you know, Saka and one or two others to the next level. I think he's just phase one in my opinion.
Enough. Curran, what would you say to that?
Okay, I don't know.
People in the comments as well. What would you say to that about Arteta being the guy for now, but not the guy to take you to the next level? Curran, go ahead.
Of course, look, Pete, respect your opinion. Of course, that's your opinion. I'm not gonna go, wow, no, that's your opinion. Okay, so the first thing
you can tell him though that I think you.
No. Look, I'm gonna, bro. I'm not gonna hold back, but I'm not gonna go, you tosser with the like. No, it's cool. It's cool. Look, so do I think he's building a look? So I will tell you right now. So the first game we had under Mikel Arteta, our back lineup was Leno in goal, Socrates, Holding, and Mustafi. Now it's Ramsdale, Gabriel, White, Tavares, or Tierney, as well as Tomiyasu, and then maybe Chambers, Cedric, whoever. Okay, so when you're talking about a project, we're already building the project. The project has already begun, and we've totally revamped the squad. The only players left from from a lot of the players that were here under Wenger, under Emery, have just gone. They've been either terminated, sold, or they've just left. There's a lot of players that are coming through now. We have one of the youngest squads in the league for a reason. We're looking to take advantage of, hopefully, in the next couple of years, as squads start to age at the Man Cities and the Liverpools. If we can take that peak and start to, as they're coming down, maybe we can come up. That's the plan. In terms of Champions League football, the point I made about West Ham is what I'm going to make here. So, if you're going to say that West Ham are going to drop off because of European football, Man United might struggle because of European football, or Leicester might struggle because of European football, we have no European football. We will be playing once a week. We're not playing Thursday, Sunday. We're not going to be playing Wednesday, Saturday. None of this. In terms, and if you're talking about when I can be, if we're talking about the periods that are going to be tough, and there are tough periods of teams this season, we have a run from January, February that is ridiculous. We have, I've got it here. So January you have Man City, Spurs, and Burnley, and then February you have Wolves, Chelsea, Brentford, and Liverpool. Those are 2 hard months. From the end of February until May, the only top 6 team we play is Man United. Right. So my thing is if we can get to the end of February and be maybe 6 points, maybe 5 or 6 points off top 4, and with teams coming into European football later stages, teams try to get injuries, etc., we have a chance here to get into Champions League football. And if in terms of Mikel as the guy, he might not be the guy. He might be the guy that takes us to 5th or 4th, or even let's say 4th, and not take us to the next level. That might not be the case. But what I will say is the guy who comes in next is going to have a squad that is going up, not going down. We're not having 30. The only players over 30 are Lacazette and Aubameyang. We don't have a squad that's aging. We're having a squad that's going into their prime, not out of their prime. So the project has already started. The rebuild has already started, and you're seeing that we do not adapt our formation for other teams. We have our formation. We play a 4-2-3-1, 3-2-5 in possession, 4-4-2 block out of possession. We know how we're going to play. We know our attacking patterns, and we know how we're going to attack teams. We don't do this. We're going to go 3 at the back. We're going to go back to 4 at the back. We know our style of football, and we know where we're going.
You really dislike Man United, innit? Man keeps
No,
going.
it wasn't. It was both United and Spurs. It was United and Spurs because Spurs are doing the same thing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Just got a new manager.
Don't worry
You
about it.
can't
Look,
bring us
some people celebrate draws on this channel. I'm good with that.
Oh,
So
stop
don't worry.
it. Who's celebrating?
don't-
Chill. I've been very quiet and very chilled. And I can trust him.
My man's got an Italian
You know what?
Italian flag on for a 0-0 draw at Everton at home. I see
You know what?
Let's
go over
Conte.
Let's go over to Pat. Let me ask you though, because obviously there has been a lot of back and forth between you and Tottenham. I mean Arsenal fans. With this run, because you said on here, and I agreed with you, the Arsenal problem is the inconsistency. So they will lose. You know, Pete said he was games that he would expect them to win. These are games that I expected them to drop points in. Your teams like your Aston Villas, your Watfords, them to drop points. They haven't.
Villa.
They haven't. They've actually gone on and won and played well in these games. Are you now a little bit worried that they could really be marching on and finishing above Tottenham?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Fair enough.
You know, Arsenal on a good run. I do get it. I thought Aston Villa would be a tricky one, but then when I look at Aston Villa and where they are right now, they're a rubbish team. And Aston Villa, if they're not careful, could be in that relegation scrap. So I know Aston Villa on paper, you would look at Aston Villa like a tricky team, but this year they're not. They're a shit team. Leicester away from home was a good result. I give them that. Leicester were very inconsistent. Again, they got a draw today. So Leicester on form are not really there, but it's a good win. It's a good scalp. They beat a rubbish Tottenham team, the worst Tottenham team we've had in probably about 10 years, if you're looking at it. Nuno got the boot after that. So is it really something to celebrate against? Probably not. Yeah, they're doing well for what it is. I'm not biased, Josh. She's asked me a question, I'm answering it. When Arsenal are jumping on me all the time and you lot are coming with your biased talk, I have to take it. But she's asked me a question, I'm just answering it. I think Arsenal are doing well right now. Yeah. Are they contenders for the top 6? Yes, which I've always said. Will they get into the top 4? No. And you know, Watford is not. Let's be honest, Watford is not a team where you'd expect Arsenal to drop points. No one really look at a Watford team and say, yeah, they're going to drop points against Watford, with all due respect. It's the Aston Villas, the Leicesters, which I could say, okay, cool. But we'll see when they play like a Liverpool. Because to be fair to Arsenal, they've come into some good form, but every team they played has been in bad form. Leicester aren't in good form right now. Tottenham aren't in good form right now. Watford are Watford. Norwich are crap. Brentford, Brentford. So let's see when they play some good teams that are in decent form. Let's see how they do.
Look, I'm just gonna ask one question to the panel. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think we're getting a result at Liverpool. I'm gonna say this right now. I think we'll go to Anfield. We're not gonna get smashed, but we will get beat. But say we go to Anfield and we pick up 1, maybe even 3 points. Are you guys looking at us differently?
No. I'm not being disrespectful. I actually think
that's fine.
I think
it's
you guys
a question.
are confusing. I do, and for the reason you said, Corinne, is that the fact that because you're not playing European football, you've got more time to prepare. You've got more time to rest than the likes of West Ham, Leicester, and some of the other teams as well in the Champions League. So I think that will help you. The thing that I always look at with Arsenal is that you have players in your team that are inconsistent. Now, you talked about building your own squad, and your squad is the trajectory of your squad is going that way. There's no doubt about it. You've got a good young squad of players there. But what comes with youth is inconsistency. And what you'll find is, and what I believe will happen over the course of a long period of a season, not just 6-7 games, is that they will drop off and you will lose games, and not just to the top 6. You'll drop points against teams you'll probably expect to beat. So you've had a great run, but I just believe over the course of a period of a season. So you talked about, from from March to May, that you only play Man United in the top 6. It doesn't always work like that. I don't believe you're going to go on a run by beating everyone apart from Man United. I think you'll drop points against other teams, and then you've got to go and beat the bigger teams to ensure that you're up there challenging. Because as you can see from the league, everybody's beating everybody. and there's teams up there that are not in that group of top 6 that you talked about that are actually having good seasons. So they
Of
then
course,
become teams
yeah.
that
The West Hams,
Well, I would-
Wolves, Evertons, etc. Of course. I mean,
But-
just quickly, I'm just going to before
Yeah,
because
just
we need to move on. We need to move
Yeah,
on. We need to move on. Yeah, of course. So just a final point on Arsenal is, look, I agree about the inconsistency point. I mean, there are players that are coming in and out. You see Tierney, he's not looked at this as the same this season as a perfect example. But if you look at the table right now, I mean, for God's sake, we were at 0 points and now we're 2 points off Liverpool. Like we can't act like there's still nothing happening. It's eight unbeaten in the league, 10 in all competitions. It's not like, I'm not saying we're going on a title charge or nothing like this, but if you do not think we are not in that mix for top 4, I don't know what else we can do
You're in the mix for top 6, not top 4.
Yeah,
I see a lot
yeah.
of comments about Leicester. Leicester are 12th at the moment, guys. Like, come on, like.
No, but when Arsenal played them though, Pat, they did
come on,
smack
man.
Man United. They smacked Man United 4-2. So
you just smacked Man United, and then they won in the Europa League 4-1 against Spartak.
Yeah.
It
was a good result, man. It was a good result.
I did say that.
Yeah,
it was.
To say that they're in bad form is a bit wrong.
Leicester are 12th, and that's just what it is. They're 12th. They're not that great this season. So you also got to look at the context of what's going on. That's all I said. Everyone's saying Leicester. No, it's not you, Coven. It's the people in the comments. So I'm just replying to that. But yeah.
So we was just about to go over now to Daps for Man City, but he's dropped out very quickly.
His fire alarm's gone off in his house. He said.
Let's go over to Spurs. You know, it was a nil-nil. It was a nil-nil result today, Pat. You know, I'm not really too interested in. Well, I am interested in the game, but what are your thoughts then on Conte coming in? Obviously, Nuno is out now. You was screaming for this to happen. Man United helped you out, and Nuno's out. Conte's in. How you feeling?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean, I know it's happened during the week, so we've kind of missed it, but it is a fucking huge appointment to get Nuno out so early in the season. That's amazing. Like, I mean, we appointed Nuno. He was never the right man. I said that from the beginning. I hold, Daniel Levy. I don't like the guy. He's made so many mistakes. We can, go on about that forever. But the fact that he realized and owned up to this mistake of appointing Nuno and chopped him after 10 games, I've got to give him credit for that. And the fact that he went out and he got Conte in, one of the best managers available, if not the best manager available right now to come in, you got to give him credit for that. So that's why I got my Italian flag. I'm fully behind Conte right now. Il tempo de Conte. It's probably a bad accent. Daniela, let me know if I said that right. But yeah, man, I'm happy, man. I'm happy that we got Conte in. So, like, all jokes aside, obviously Conte comes with a fantastic CV. He's managed and done bits wherever he's gone. It will be interesting to see what he can do with this Spurs squad, what happens in January, because someone of Conte's stature and of Conte's, where he is right now, he wouldn't come into the Spurs job unless, in my opinion, he was told that he's going to have money to spend and he's going to get investments. So we'll see what happens in Jan and in the summer. Obviously,
what would be the target for Spurs and Conte now this season, Pat? And then looking towards the end, like next season, and because obviously he's got 18 months. Exactly. So this season and next season.
Yeah, top 6 and a trophy this season. He definitely has to get us back into the top 6. And ideally, you want to win that Europa Conference League, whatever it's called.
We're
in there. We're in there. We got Conte. You have to go and win that now. And then also you have to get back into.
Is that then classed as a trophy though? Real talk. I'm not.
It's a trophy, isn't it? It's a competition, right? A trophy at the end, no.
It's like the Charity Shield, though, isn't it? Them sort of things.
No. It's not a Charity Shield. There's a bunch of teams in there. I know it's not great, but to be fair, it's our level. That's where we're at right now. So I've gone back and forth with Spurs fans on different channels and I said, listen, we're in this competition. I want us to go and win it. Other people are being snobby. We should drop it out and go for it. Like, we need to win something. And at the end of the day, winning instills winning. Go and win it. and then push on. So we're in it. We don't ever want to be in this position again. But while we're in it, whilst we're in it, go and win it. That's my attitude to it.
And then next season.
Exactly. If we can win a domestic trophy, fantastic. You go for that as well. But that's the tournament where we should be winning it, in my opinion. Go for it. Conte obviously put out a strong team on Thursday. We got the win. It was touch and go, but we got the win. And obviously played that team again today. So he's learned. Obviously, he's just been in the job for tomorrow's, Tuesday he was appointed. So it's been less than a week. So a lot has happened. It's going to take him a while to obviously get to grips with the team, get to grips with where we're going to play and how we're going to play. But yeah, we've got a top manager in now, so there's no more excuses for these guys. The week will get found out, and then we get rid of them and we go again. That's all we can do, really. Just push on now. The league is very competitive this year. Like, you're looking at your West Hams, they look like they're there to stay in terms of fighting for the top six. Obviously, your Leicesters, your Arsenals, all of those teams I've mentioned, they'll be there or thereabouts. Man United should at some point get back into some sort of form. So it's going to be competitive.
Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But But going forward, so let's say obviously he's going to have January and then he's going to have the summer. What would your expectation be now for Spurs, even going forward to next season? Let's say that you finish top 6 this year and you even win a trophy. What's the progression look like
next year? You have to fight to get into that top 4. That has to be the progression for a team of Spurs' stature, and I think that'll be the same for all your big teams. You have to get back into that top 4, man. Everyone said the top 4 was set this year. There's always surprises. We'll see what happens. So if someone can sneak in there, of course, then you try and do that. But next year, with a full summer, full preseason, you'll have this window and the summer window. You have to be aiming to get into that top 4, man. And ideally, you want Conte to get top 6 this year and a trophy. Build off that, and then you go again, man. Building blocks, really. You start, you build. We are where we are. We know where we are. We're not one of the best teams in the league at the moment, but there's still enough quality in that squad to get us into the top 6. Now that we've got a good manager, Nuno was never the guy. Now we've got a good manager. That's where we should be, and that's where hopefully.
So another question to you, Pat, before I get the thoughts of some others. Obviously, Conte's come in now with the same players that Nuno's had to work with.
Yeah,
he's played in the midweek in the Conference League. Was far from an impressive win. And then today you've drawn 0-0, and the talk is that you've had no shots on target today. Do you expect to see things? Do you expect things to get better? Because usually you see like a manager bounce in it. We haven't quite seen that in these 2 games, I don't believe. And yeah, do you expect it to get better? And was Nuno given enough time? We've seen what happens with David Moyes. Was Nuno given enough time at Spurs?
Yeah, I think Nuno was definitely given enough time. He just was a clueless manager. The thing is,
10 games, Pat. 10 games.
But in those 10 games, you could see already there was no patterns of play. Nuno didn't know what was going on. He had no clue what formation to play, what setup to play. Substitutions were lacking. In-game management was lacking. He was alienated from the squad. There was already division. There were so many things, Sam. So even in those 10 games, yeah, I could say that. And it wasn't getting better. We were poor, lowest stats for running, lowest stats for shots on target, lowest stats for expected goals, hardly scoring goals. Even though we've won 5 games, we're on a -7 goal difference because we're winning by a 1 goal margin, getting pummeled by 3 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals. So yeah, in those 10 games, you could see that with Nuno, we were never going to finish in the top 6 or even possibly the top 8. So Conte coming in now, I do expect things to lift. It's only been a week. I know, of course, sometimes you say there's a new manager bounce. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it takes a while. So I expect us to as Conte.
Will he need new players, Pat? Will he, like this comment says here, there must be purchasing players in January.
No doubt. And I'm sure he would have had those conversations. He's had time to assess the squad. He almost took over in the summer. He didn't, for a number of reasons or whatever it was. So he knows the squad. He's seen it. He knows who we're going to, what players need to come in and out in January. We can all see where the squad needs strengthening. So yeah, there will definitely be players bought in January. I don't doubt that.
Daps, let me come to you. You're going to get your time to shine in a second because we're going to chat about Man City. But I wanted to, we've talked about David Moyes. Nuno did only get 10 games. Do you believe, given the fact that we're talking about Conte is going to need to buy in January, this is the team that Nuno had. Do you think that Nuno was given enough time, Daps? I want to get somebody else's view that is not a Spurs fan. What's your thoughts?
I'm going to come back to how you announced Man City a minute ago, bruv, because that didn't go over my head, okay?
Oh, man. Right? I didn't do nothing.
Yes, you did. Did Nuno get enough time? I don't rate Nuno at all. However, if you bring a manager in, you'd expect to give him more than 10 games, probably. However much I don't rate Nuno. Is 10 games enough? He didn't massively get backed in the summer. So Pat, you might be the best one to ask this question. Nuno's contract, has anything come out? Not Nuno, sorry. Conte's contract, has anything come out on the size of it? Is it not the length of time? How bigger?
I think he's on about 20 mil a year, something like that.
It's quite a lot.
21 million in a year.
Yeah, exactly. So he's on good money, proper, like, big,
very
big
good,
money.
like worth him taking it. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah, because we know he has no remorse. He'll go wherever.
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
Right? Because you say that Levy's going to back him, and I would imagine Levy is going to back him for him to take that job. But the reason I asked about how much the contract was, does he care actually because he's just he's pocketing 20 mil. I mean, because my worry would be how much is Levy really going to back him? Because the books would say Levy's not going to back him that much, right? He'll back him a bit. He's not going to back him like maybe other clubs have backed him in the past. I do know he's got the relationship with your sports director from Juventus. Maybe that gives him a bit more confidence that he's going to get backed. But January transfer window, never the best transfer window to do amazing business. The fact that going into the January transfer window, a lot of clubs are going to know you're going to need players. So that's going to put an extra amount on the cost of every single. And how good's Levy? I mean, is Kane going January, do you think?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't see it, but I don't know.
Not now. Conte's coming. I don't believe.
See, that narrative is a narrative that I think Tottenham fans have bought into. That now Conte's coming.
No, I've not bought into it. I
ain't bought into that at all. He wanted to go because he wanted to move away from Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
And people.
Yeah, but in January,
Nuno,
Kane in January. Let me ask Pete. Do you think that sort of a transfer happens in January, Pete?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Kane's Tottenham's best player. There is no way that even if there's some sort of agreement that he leaves in the summer, which I believe there is, in my opinion, there's no way they let him go in January. There's no way, in my opinion, that Kane would want to leave mid-season, because if you're leaving mid-season, you've only got a small number of clubs, an even smaller number of clubs that are going to be able to have that sort of money available to be able to sign you. Unless it's the actual team that he wants to go to and they're willing to invest mid-season, which I don't believe they will.
I don't think we'll go.
I think it'll be in the summer. Sorry, what was that?
I don't think we'll do business with Tottenham now. I think our board will back up. Our board will have never liked to be messed about like that and carried on doing business. Napoli, we won't do business with them now. So I can't see us wanting to do business with Tottenham because they've really took the piss in our board's opinion. So.
I think you made a great point, and this is something that I discussed with a couple of the Newcastle lads that I do my pod with when we're talking about Kane. In that Kane had a window that this summer just gone in terms of going to Man City, and the question marks will be out as whether Man City will go back to him, knowing that the likes of Erling Haaland is available in the summer as well, and maybe one or two others. Is that Kane to Man City is not a dead cert. I just don't believe it is. But I think Kane is desperate to leave. And I think Kane may either go abroad, or I think if Man City get Haaland, that Man United will come calling for Harry Kane. And I do believe that he'll go there. I think
what the hell?
I've always thought. I
think they're the two places. I think they're either Man City, Man United, or he'll go abroad. I think they're the options. I think Harry Kane will not be seen in the same light as with Tottenham fans, in my opinion. Now,
Oh, that's already happened. It's already happened.
When you do that, no matter how long you've been there, When you do that to a club,
Yeah.
whether you've been there from a kid through the academy or not, the fans never ever look at you the same. And for you, and I think this has affected him this year, is the fact that he knows he wants to leave. He knows the fans knows he wants to leave. He also knows that the players in the changing rooms knows that he wants to leave. All of that together has affected how he's approached the games. His mind is messed up, and he is not performing in the same way because he knows everything around him is not rosy and smelling good like it has been in all these years. And I think the best thing for Kane in his career, if you want to see him smashing goals in left, right, and centre, he needs to move on to another club to go and experience that.
I was going to say that. I mean, I don't know what the situation is now, but when I speak about the fact that our opening game was against Tottenham and Tottenham beat us, right? And in that game, sure, there was the whole thing of it was the first time that their stadium with fans back in. But I think Tottenham that day, the players played like a team that wanted to prove that they were not a one-man army. There was an extra step in every single Tottenham player that day. Their work rate was insane. They deserved the win. And I think the second game as well, Kane didn't play, and you looked good again, right? First couple of games when Kane wasn't playing, Tottenham looked really good. The minute Kane back in, and I don't know if the players have kind of like, I'm not saying down tools because of Kane, but they're just like, they're not cool with it.
Football is, what people do forget a lot of the time is football's a team game, innit?
Yeah.
And if you do break that relationship, and I don't know whether relationships have been broken because of it, but that can have an impact on morale then that is going to have an impact on a performance on the pitch. There's no doubt about that. What do you think about that, Pat? Because you're looking kind of glum over there, man. You got Conte. You're meant to be smiling. Where's that?
I'm good, man. I'm listening to what people are saying.
Man.
I'm fine, man. What do you mean?
Well, what do you think about that? Do you think relationships? We're gonna move on a little bit, but do you think relationships have been broken? Do you think that could be having an impact on?
Yeah, 100%. The way Kane handled the situation in the summer was really poor. When he come out on that Gary Neville interview and started essentially naming his selling price, that's when I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, obviously naming the 100 mil thing. It was all, when you look at it, it was all pre-orchestrated, all set up, all, Charlie Kane handled it really badly, leaking it to the press. Kane allegedly said goodbye behind the scenes to everyone. It was all handled really poorly. And that has definitely affected Kane. It's affected the players as well.
What do you reckon about this comment, Pat? Because obviously we've had a lot.
I've seen this guy. He's been talking shit all day. Like, he said some other stuff about the Ajax stuff, which was nonsense. And then this. Kane, look, even though Kane is going through a bad run of form, he's still one of the best strikers in the world. He's proved.
Will you get 100 mil for him now, Pat? Will you get 100 mil for him?
This is true. I said this in the summer when we were being linked with Kane, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and say that if he came to City, I would have been angry and I wouldn't like Kane because, like you said, his record.
Come on, his numbers are ridiculous. He's one of if you look at. But to say what's Kane pressing got to do with his goal scoring ability? Like, you don't need
you need that in a team.
And the injury thing, Kane's missed in the last year or so. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. There's been so many people that have missed more games than Kane. So
now hold on. I'll agree with the De Bruyne thing. Bernardo Silva's nothing to do with injuries, bro.
I can't wait to talk about Bernardo Silva, by the way. Can't wait to talk about Bernardo Silva.
In terms of games, it's a poor narrative, isn't it? Like, if people are going to say stuff, at least come with decent or intelligent.
But Patrick, the thing is, if you have a team full of injury-prone players, why are you adding another one to it?
Pat,
what he's saying is he's not injury prone. That's what Pat's saying.
But he is. He has been throughout his career.
How many games have he missed?
I don't agree. I don't think Kane's injury prone. I think the injuries
it's a poor narrative. He's had one or two bad injuries, yes. But is he an injury prone player? No. Is he someone like Antonio that's going off with knocks every other game? Is he someone that is always like Thomas Partey, where he's in and out with a thigh strain or this and that? No, he's not. Kane doesn't really have those problems.
Before last season, Thomas Partey was one of the most durable players in Europe. Last season, he had a bad season. He's missed here and there a couple of games.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But it's not like he's like
Kane's not really injury prone like that. That's my point. He's not really missing games with niggles and naggles and this and that. He doesn't. If he has a bad injury, cool, but he's not really an injury prone player. So it's a poor narrative.
on that.
I'm just answering the question or the
No. That's fine, Pat. You've
It's
answered.
fine, mate. You've answered it well.
One thing I'd add to what Pat said is that you mentioned that you didn't think the pressing, Harry Kane's pressing, is an issue. I actually think it is, and I think it will become more of an issue as he gets older. In that. What I'm finding with Harry Kane, yes, he's still getting on the end of things and scoring goals here and there. He's not been as prolific, nowhere near as that this season. And I actually think it's because of his lack of pressing going forward. Now, I don't know whether that's the manager, whether it's Nuno, or whether it's Mourinho beforehand that had told him to drop deep to receive the ball. Yes, he wants to get onto the ball, but what you're not finding from Kane, what you found under Posh and beforehand, is that when the ball's arriving in the box, he's not there. The amount of times in games where he might drop deep to receive the ball and play it on, but you're not seeing him then drive forward to get into the box. It's okay being a striker, back to goal striker. I was that, at a lower level. I understand that way of playing. But what you should be told from your manager is that if you're dropping deep to receive the ball back to goal, you play that ball off, and your first thought is driving into the box, because as the mainland striker, you should be getting in to be able to receive the ball and getting on the end of things. The one thing that Kane's not doing this season, and he wasn't doing it in the back end of last season either, is arriving in the box. So the amount of times that you play the ball off wide and you get Son, or you get Bergwijn, or you get somebody else, Lucas Moura, that will be running in behind those defenders, whipping balls into the box. And Harry Kane, when the ball's coming into the box, is only just arriving onto the 18-yard line. He's not where you want him to be. So you're not going to get those goals.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant point.
If he's not doing that job,
we'll see that this year, because Conte has said, he's come out and said it when he's doing punditry, that he wants Harry Kane in that 18-yard box. So we'll see if he develops him and basically tells him this is where you're staying, and we'll see if he doesn't allow that drop in deep shit and just he wants him as a striker. So we'll see this year what happens now that Conte's been appointed.
Reminds me a lot of Shearer.
Before we do move on, because we do need to. I'm guessing Sam's is going to say we need to move on to City. You gotta let the Arsenal fan go here. You gotta let the thing go. Because look, what I find not even hilarious. I just find it sad that you have the manager that you wanted in the summer, appointed someone else. He was manager of the month in August. You've then fired him because you've gone on a bad run. Now you've hired the guy. You've not had a summer with him, and it's Antonio Conte, who is notoriously needed, always wanted to drill his players to death in preseason. So he's not got that. It feels like when we hired Mikel, I'll be real. He's not on the same level. Obviously, Conte is Conte. He's an amazing manager. But it feels like when we hired Mikel, and it was so late in this, it was almost in December. It was in December when we hired Mikel. But when with this, it's late. It's late. Like you have the January window. How many players do you think you can get in January? Two
or three, yeah. And it's just really bad management by Daniel Levy, and that's why, as much as people are happy we got Conte, this should have been all sorted in the summer. It's so bad to then get in your 6th, 7th choice manager, not really back him. You didn't have any faith in him, because if you really had faith in him, you would have allowed him to get through this bad run of form, and hopefully you would, you believe in him, so you'll see him out on the other side. The fact that you chopped him after a couple of bad games or whatever it is, and the style of play, you knew what Nuno's about. We've seen him in the Premier League for 2 years. So to then chop him, it just shows that Daniel Levy is an idiot. So,
but we know this anyway, Pat, because it took. We know Nuno wasn't your first choice, second choice. It was like 6th
9th,
choice.
wasn't it?
So you know that he wasn't. And look, the reality is, we are going to move on. I'll just say this last point, and then we'll move on. The reality is that after 10 games is not enough. 10 games, you're not giving the manager enough time after 10 games. But what that comes down to is that they didn't trust him in the first place. Exactly. So he was sort of like on a probation period to do what he needed to do, and he didn't pass his probation, and now he's gone. They've reacted. They've gone back to Conte. Yes, it's not great. They have reacted. He's not come in mid-season before, but they've taken a risk with somebody like Conte, which is a lot better than taking a risk with someone like Mikel Arteta. Not knocking you, but I'm saying they've taken that calculated risk, and we're gonna have to wait and see how that plays out, man. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. We are going to move on now because we are running way behind schedule, but that's okay because it's been a great show so far. Every new person, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for your comments. They've been rolling true. Daps, talk to us because Manchester City.
Yeah, man. Come on, Buff. There's no need for that.
Man City come to Old Trafford on a training game tip, you know, with the home fans and just walk the game. Talk to us. I know you're going to be happy. I know you're going to be happy.
You know what? I'll be completely 100, and I'll say exactly what I said on all podcasts before the game is that I was more nervous this year than I have been for probably the last 8 or 9 trips to Old Trafford.
Yeah, that don't make no sense.
It makes massive sense. Here's why. You lot are absolutely shit. Your manager is shit, right? I don't want to lose to a shit Man United. I could lose to a Man United under Jose, who is.
Why would you be scared then?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It makes he's not making no sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
It's not making no sense.
Let me
Would you
finish.
say
It
it's
makes
even more
perfect
embarrassing,
sense.
perhaps? Would you say it's even more embarrassing if you did lose?
To lose to a Jose Mourinho and Man United, there's reasons you can say, well, that happened because to lose to an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shit Manchester United.
But you've lost to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer before, though. You've lost to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last
Yeah,
season.
and it was embarrassing, but he's got worse because he's got bruv, it's embarrassing to lose to you, man, this year where everyone's smoking you, Everton are coming to your ground and disrespecting you. We can't have other people go there and disrespect you, then us come there and not disrespect you. So it was nice to see that you know what? I wouldn't even say we disrespected you. We actually just came to you and blessed your fans with beautiful how good football is played. Like it was just so professional.
Yeah, it wasn't professional. You killed them slowly. It was cruise control. You literally played with them. It was because Semps and I were going back, not back and forth, but we were tweeting, and I was like, Semps, it's only 2-0. You get the next goal, you're back in it. And he was like, no, we're getting battered. And as the game panned out, it was just you lot were just toying with them. It's like,
you know what? It was the other thing. So when we did Feed the Goat the 2 days before, we picked our starting 11, and unbelievably we got it bang on, literally bang on. Which was Grealish dropped, Gundogan come in, and one of the things that I picked up on is I said we're going to play either De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva in the false 9. Everyone else was saying De Bruyne. I had a feeling it would be Bernardo Silva because we've played him there against United before and it's been successful, but I pinpointed the kind of the diamond of Rodri, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva. And I said, stop, just look at that, right? The ball retention in them 4 players, right, is absolutely insane. They are professional footballers of age who just know how to, by any means, they do the things that Pep wants them to do. Don't lose the ball. Do not lose the ball. Don't try and play the weldy pass if you're not 100% that it's gonna come of age. Turn around and play the simple pass. Don't lose the ball. And if you do, get it back in 5 seconds. Do those 2 things, we win the game. And that is ultimately what happened. You know, actually, United helped us with 2 shit goals. Like, I mean, De Gea was great first half, but he should have stopped that. And Baye's positioning was just poor for the first one. But you know what? I didn't want to come on here and disrespect Man United.
Go ahead, man. Do your thing.
Look, if I'm gonna be, let's talk.
Look. If there was ever a time to disrespect Manchester United, now's the time. Do you know what I mean? It's right. Not even. It is what it is.
You know what it is, right? You see what? I've been thinking about this today, yeah, and it's absolutely insane that your board has put us right now as a panel actually comparing managers like Tuchel, managers like Pep, managers like Klopp with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right, at Manchester United. Your board, what they're thinking, I do not know. And like, there's you know what, even Arteta, you know when there's managers that as footballers, other managers recognize that their tactical awareness is there, that they're going to be a good manager in the future. Like, say, for example, Pep, the position Pep played in, how he could see everything in front of him. They noticed tactically as a player, he was good. Same you could say with Arteta, that he got noticed. Then you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. His whole career as a footballer was a plan B striker. Yeah. He ain't seen nothing behind. He was a plan B striker, right?
But then he should know he was seen from the bench. He should know what one. He should know what one.
It's like, actually, what makes you think that this guy is going to come in and be able to compete with these managers? Then you've got a board and sporting directors, whatever else, that there's no, right, we're going to buy players to fit into this style of football. Instead, we're going to buy all the best players, all the players that everyone's talking about, and kind of shoehorn them in somewhere and make someone else play out of position for him to work. It's just an absolute shambles. And as a City fan, United fans deserve so much better than what is going on right there. Like, it's just an absolute fucking shambles. But I don't believe you'll get rid of him and rightly so, till the summer, because big Manchester United should not be doing no November, December. I feel you need to be getting it good right now. Your board need to be getting contracts signed on Ajax's manager for the summer, right? So that when the season ends, 2 days later, he's through the door with the whole summer and the board ready to back him to get you back where you should be. And I'm saying that as a City fan, yeah, because however much I hate United, you deserve better than this, because this is fucking shambles.
Just to throw a spanner in the works, I saw today on 2 different reports that Brendan Rodgers to United is essentially done.
Yeah, but that's Twitter, bruv.
This is we got to be careful. Since we lost to Liverpool, these journalists have been having a field day with these Twitter people that hang on their every word. The fact of the matter is that, you know, this question here, is Ten Hag even an option under this ownership? And just going back to what you just said there, Daps, Manchester United ain't going to no Ten Hag to then line him up for the end of the season. We've got an inept board and an inept manager. If we had a board that were about this life, that's what they would be doing. But the reality is that we're just not going to go and buy my man out of a contract, line him up for the end of the summer. It's not going to happen. But
you know what?
Who
was your guy that left at the same time as Fergie?
David Gill.
You know what? Fergie's also massively relevant, yeah?
No, David Gill is about it was a partnership. And then when they both left at the same time, it was a madness.
And that's kind of, I just hope when Pep does eventually leave that all of our ex-Barcelona board don't go with him, because that could also... It just shows a good board and a good sporting director that believe in everything the manager wants to do and they work together. That's the key. If you don't do that, your board, you're just not going to achieve anything, man. And but however, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. 12:30 kickoff. So by 2:30, my weekend was full of smiles. And then West Ham went and helped us today again. So yeah, I'm good. And Bernardo Silva, Cancelo.
Yeah, Cancelo's a different animal this year.
Bernardo Silva, man. No, people needed to put some respect on that man's name. People were saying that he needed to leave City in the summer, and he is.
No, wasn't he saying that he wanted to leave City?
Yeah,
was it he wanted to say? Was it he wanted?
You know what? All he wanted was ultimately, since the situation between him and Mendy, you know, where. Something got taken wrong, and he said something. The racism thing. Yeah, the racism thing. Yeah. He said something incorrectly. Let's be very clear with that. But that kind of seemed to knock him a bit. He had 6 months where he was dropped a lot. I think his head wasn't in the right place. Before that, he was insane for us, right? He's always been. And I think all it was is he just wanted game time. Like, that's all. He wants to win every game. He wants to compete in every game. I love him because he hates the Scousers. He looks forward to playing Man United. He wasn't happy when we did the domestic treble because he wanted to go further in the Champions League. He just liked playing and winning. He's from that era of Portugal that Ronaldo's bred. And all Madeira was game time. Now he's got that. We've seen him, and also Rodri yesterday was insane as well.
Look, I'm just gonna quickly say before, because I know Simps is obviously going to want to talk about this game, what it means for United, but for me,
I don't really. But
but for me, it's look. If you look at that City game, people were saying, "Oh, it was only 2-0." I saw some United fans on Twitter being like, "It's only 2-0. We got 5-0. It wasn't as bad, bro. This was worse."
Yeah,
This was worse.
you sure? I don't think I didn't see any Man
I saw
United
a couple.
today.
I
Of
saw a couple.
Liverpool fans today, we should have put 5 past them. But here's the thing for me.
No.
things-
But what he's saying is that there were United fans out there trying to sort of downplay that result. I don't
It
think
was more United stand. Maybe it was just people trolling in the comments. But there was a lot of
it
it.
must be trolling. Yeah. It
Yeah,
must be.
because I was just because my point is that what City did was they defended through possession and you didn't have a chance. Like you had literally you were chasing shadows and it was sad. Like it was sad to look at people like. And I want to ask Sam because I know I'm not coming this in a trolly way. I'm gonna ask you just straight out.
Ask me
Why
what you want, bro.
do you man rate Bruno Fernandes like you do?
He was bad yesterday, very bad.
So look, I'll answer this. Obviously, we're new. We're meeting for the first time. So people, if you'd followed me for a long time, everyone knows me. I'm a real Man United fan. This is why I say I'm unbantable right now. That can't ban me. That can't come up here and banter me because I keep it real. Do you know what I mean? Now with Bruno Fernandes is stats speak for themselves. Yeah. They speak for themselves. And this is why you can't really knock Bruno Fernandes because since he's come to Manchester United, he's delivered in a way that a lot of other players in the Premier League have not delivered. But what Bruno Fernandes is, he's a guy, he's a moments player. Very rarely does he have great 90-minute games, but he does impact football matches. And this is why you asked me a question sort of implying that the whole Man United fan base rate Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is actually in the Man United fan base. He's sort of torn. You've got one side that get vexed at other fans that try and knock Bruno Fernandes, and then you would have another side that may criticize Bruno Fernandes because of what you're probably seeing. So the way I see Bruno Fernandes is
that's a shock to me. That's really a shock to me. Sorry,
I do believe, Bruno Fernandes should be a starter for Manchester United because he impacts football matches for us. But is he escaped from criticism? No. Should he have been dropped at times? Yes, because he does not always play well. He does not always put in great performances. But, Bruno Fernandes is a player that should be respected, to be honest, because he's come in and he's delivered for us. And he scored a load of goals, a lot of assists, and a lot of what we have done in the progression that we've been on has been down to Bruno Fernandes.
For sure.
Now we're at a point where, and again, people will know me. I've called this from a long time. Our football is not sustainable because we have a poor coach and a poor manager, or a poor coaching staff and a poor manager. And he's now going to get wrapped up in that, unfortunately. When you're playing as badly as what we saw, like you say, they came, they toyed with us. I was at Old Trafford when Liverpool battered us 5-0. When you're a player like Bruno Fernandes, when you're an attacking player, you're gonna get swallowed up in those type of games. And this is why I've got a question here, to be honest, and I want to get somebody else's thoughts. That's not myself. Is it the players at United? Is it Ollie, or is it a bit of both? Pete, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I wanted to jump in on that Bruno Fernandes comment because I think
go ahead.
I think it's a really good point. Look, he came in January,
yeah.
And then there was obviously he played his part. There was the lockdown. Then he played kind of the restart, had a small break, full season. Euros now into a full season. The guy played pretty much every single game. Now I've got a couple of mates in Leicester that have been season ticket holders at Man United for like 15 plus years. And the one thing I said to them is that at the back end of last season, Bruno Fernandes looked burnt out. He looked absolutely burnt out. He played every minute of pretty much every game. And when Ollie tried to drop him, Man United's performances dropped so much that the first thing we had to do is bring him back on again. And so he's never really had a sustained rest at all.
That's a fact.
And mentally, I think, not physically, because I think he physically keeps himself in really good nick. I think mentally he's tired. And I think mentally he needs to check out. And I think this summer coming round, I think will be a big moment for him. And I think potentially the next season on, you're going to see an even better, more rejuvenated Bruno Fernandes. I don't throw hate on him. I think he's a supremely talented player. And like you mentioned a minute ago, you know, the numbers and the performances and the goals, assists that he's put out there in the time that he's been at Man United, there's not many players that have done that. And
do you know what?
League history. He is a very, very talented player. But you're right, when you're playing in such a poor team and there's so much pressure put on you, because time after time in previous seasons he's been able to bring out a moment of magic and save the team, but now he's not doing it. There are certain sections of the fan base that are now pointing the finger. He can't be expected to do it all the time. Man United invested a hell of a lot of money in the likes of Ronaldo. They've still got Pogba there for this season. You know, they brought Sancho in, and they've got Greenwood coming through. Rashford's now back. They should be sharing the burden. They've got so much talent in that team. They shouldn't be just expecting Bruno Fernandes to do the business every time. He shouldn't be the match winner every time. They've got many a match winners in their squad. So I think the hate on Fernandes, or certainly the question marks being put on him, I don't think are fair at all.
I've just pulled up some stats real quick. I'm comparing Bruno Fernandes with Foden, Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne, right? And I've done it per 90, I've done it per 90, which I feel you always have to do, yeah? Because obviously, and I'm telling you now, yeah, and it was interesting reading for me, assist-wise and chances created, yeah? So assists and chances created, the two things that in that role are very, very important. He's better than all three City players this season, right? So that kind of, because I needed to see that, because I'm a big Bruno Fernandes fan, and I'm a fan of, like I said about Bernardo Silva, Cancelo, and a lot of Portuguese players that have this Ronaldo mentality where they just want to win. And I think that's what
he's got that as well.
He brought you that last season. Now, here's the thing. I do feel that at the moment, even if you're a player like that with that mentality, sometimes it will get you. Sometimes even your mentality will kind of question yourself when it's going on. And I kind of feel with him and Ronaldo, you've got two absolute winners that want to win everything. But even their heads are going to drop at some point. Frustrations with the manager. And I think that's maybe one of the concerns at the moment at Man United, is that when you have players like that, whereas sometimes maybe a few seasons ago when United's form has started dropping, there's people that don't care that much. Now you've got people that care, and that's going to cause tension in the dressing room that maybe is happening. Like, however much Ronaldo might respect Ollie from playing with him, look, Ronaldo is a serial winner. He's not going to respect him to the point where he's going to allow absolute bollocks to happen. And I think that's what's happening right now.
Well, this is why I always say, you know, when with this question, is it the players, Ollie, or a bit of both? And just going, but I'll touch on that. But, you know, answering questions where people trying to get onto Bruno Fernandes about penalties and all of this crap, you know, I don't know if you actually watch Man United or if you're just trolling or what. I know, Dash, you're trolling, so I'm not even going to really react to you. But, you know, Bruno Fernandes does a lot more than just score penalties. But not only that, if we were to talk about penalties, some of the greats, we don't knock them for scoring loads of penalties. Alan Shearer, Henry, and all of this stuff. We don't take out penalties out of their goal scoring record. Nah. So you know,
Alba missed one today, for God's sake. Everyone misses a penalty. It's
loads of top players miss penalties. So
Manchester City are renowned for missing penalties.
Exactly. Kevin De Bruyne, Aguero, David Silva, it didn't matter. So when you're tucking it away, by the way, I'll park that one now. Manchester United now have come into this season. Pat knows I did not think we were title challengers. People were trying to get onto me for saying, why are you not title challengers, and wanting me to say it. I understand where we are in terms of the structure, coaching staff, X, Y, and Z. But the fact of the matter is now we have players. Previously, you would have been able to say that our squad is poor. That has changed. And now you've got a team that I do agree to a certain degree is not balanced, Curran, because you mentioned that earlier. I would 100% agree with that. But we have a manager now that has gone out and spent 70 mil on Sancho. Yeah. So
but did he?
I don't think so. It's such a good point. He didn't.
If it's not him, but he's coming into press conferences, Dap, and saying, "I've been back."
But that's because
you know what I'm saying.
He's the guy that wouldn't park in Fergie's parking space. He will literally defend Man United to death.
Yeah.
But this is a thing, right? And I missed the end of that Arteta thing, and I wanted to talk on Arteta. There's been comparisons between Arteta and Oli. For me, I mentioned Arteta earlier when I was saying about
Arteta's a better coach
got
than Oli.
noticed as a player that they were going to be good tactically. Yeah,
We beat the allegations.
And when he went into look, I didn't think it helped that the minute he joined Arsenal and things started happening, people going, "Oh, Pep's the B-Tech Arteta," and that nonsense, right? But the fact is, he went into the Arsenal role and he had a lot more to do than Pep had to do at City, right? He also had to get rid of a horrible culture at the club. But he's done that, and now he's slowly bringing in players that match how he wants to play, right?
Yeah.
Now, that is the difference between him and Oli. And anyone that tries to compare them two, that must be legacy and based on what they did as players, because that shows that with far less budget, with far more to do, Arteta's starting to do something. Whereas Oli, to this day, no one knows I don't think he knows. Game by game.
Yeah, look, Oli, it's because Oli came in talking about he's going to play attacking football. He's going to play 4-3-3. He's never played that. He started off and then he stopped. He started playing 4-2-3-1. What somebody said as well is that he's had his passion merchants and his hard-working players on the field nearly every game. He's had his McFred playing. He's had Bruno Fernandes playing. He's had Rashford come in and play games. Obviously, he's had his defense there who he trusts. He brings Maguire back from injury early because he trusts him. He's got Luke Shaw, Lindelof. Obviously, Varane has caused a bit of a problem because he's been lovely when he has played. He's been really good, but he's not done enough. But it's just not at that point now where people can try and talk about these players are down in tools, because a couple of days ago, we're coming back from 2-0 and winning 3-2. So what is it? Do you know what I mean? We're seeing consistently now is poor performances from Manchester United, very poor performances, and a team that actually are not organised and don't know what they're doing. That is not a player issue. When you see West Ham play Liverpool today, they are organised. The players know what they're doing. They're well drilled. When you watch Manchester United against Liverpool, they're all looking around. One player thinks I should go and press. Another player doesn't know what he's doing. They're getting caught in no man's land. Then, you know how you know that these players don't know what they're doing and they don't have a plan? Is because then he switches to a 3-5-2 against Spurs, wins and gets 3 points, and then thinks this is going to be the answer for every game going forward. You've got players like Sancho that are on the bench, can't get a start in this system, and you've got all of these attacking players you've gone and got. They can't all fit in a 3-5-2. That's how you know Manchester United do not have a plan. So when the people say, is it the players, is it Oli, is it a bit of both? It is Oli, Gunnar Solskjaer, and
it's a bit of both.
Get him out, get Oli out.
It's a bit of both.
And that's the thing. The change of the formation is like, and the way he'll change the formation, it'll work. And then it's like, oh, well, that must be the way. It's like, oh, God, you're so naive, man. Like, no, if you need to change a formation because of the team you are playing, right? Fine, change that formation. But hope that your players are drilled into it, because actually it can take a hell of a long time to drill a change of formation into players, especially when like players are supposed to telepathically know where other players are, because you just know that's what they do in this formation. To just change formation like this and that without drilling it into them, and not for a reason, just because you won a previous game like it. It's just, but again, I go back to, how is your board allowing this conversation to even happen? It shouldn't be happening.
This is what the Manchester United board is, man. But we're going to have to move on because this is Manchester United and it ain't going to happen. Oli, up until we play Arsenal on the 6th,
second of December.
That's the game at which I think Oli will get sacked. After we lose to Chelsea and we lose to Arsenal, he'll get sacked after that game, but we will see. Pete, you've been waiting very patiently, 1 hour and 28 minutes. You've been waiting. It is now your time to talk and give us your opinion on what is going on over there at Newcastle, man. You lot are getting Eddie Howe, man. Like, how you feeling about Eddie Howe? Obviously, you was riding high when the new investment come in, but Eddie Howe, are you happy with that? What are your thoughts?
Look, as a Newcastle fan of 30 years and been through the entertainers' years, been through the resurgence of Sir Bobby Robson, and then that 14 years of hell under Mike Ashley, and it was 14 years of hell. I can't even lie. And I don't think any Newcastle fan will tell you anything different. Going through that and experiencing what we've experienced in the last month has been just a roller coaster of emotions. I've got to be honest. It's been an amazing month. Maybe not on the pitch, and maybe not when we're looking at the league table, but in terms of the future of our club, the future of our club is secure, and that's all that matters to us. You know, we're having a poor season at the moment, and we knew we would with Bruce starting at the helm and at the beginning of the season, and Mike Ashley still being there. But it's an amazing feeling. I've got to be honest, to know that you've got owners that look. I need to kind of like get rid of squash some misconceptions here. When this takeover was kind of close to going through back in April 2020, and all this Mbappe, Messi, Coutinho, Bale squads came out and said this is who we're going to sign. No Newcastle fan thought that. There was no Newcastle fan out there. That started through the media, and you know, all we want is a team that's got ambition to want to be better. The one thing I've been saying constantly is that what I want with this new ownership is not having to look every June when the fixtures come out and see where we're going to get our 40 points from to stay in the league. Like, we're sick of that. We've had 14 years of it. Now, we're now looking to be ambitious. Can we, in the next year or so, get in the top 10? That would be a successful season for us. Can we then grow to become something better in a few years' time? Who knows? But going back to the point about Eddie Howe, I've been banging on about Eddie Howe for the last year now. In any of the pods that I've been on, you know, when asked who do I think is the right manager to take over this group of players, I've said Eddie Howe right from the beginning. He's not
Did you?
Yeah, I've been saying it. So
Wow.
I'm really happy to see, and he'll be signed off tomorrow. A lot of the Northeast journalists have confirmed that the deal will be confirmed at some point tomorrow.
How long is his contract going to be? Do you know?
Supposedly going to be 2.5 years, rising to 3. And you know what? It had to be that way. I initially thought with the new ownership that it would be Eddie Howe on a short-term deal, maybe towards the end of the season. And if we were looking at a higher sort of stature of manager, then they would look to go 3-4 years to build a project. The fact that the Unai Emery thing came out, and I don't think it was from the club. I think it was from Unai Emery's side of things that really put it out there to people in the media that he was talking to Newcastle. He wasn't actually offered anything. He wasn't actually offered any terms in terms of being the manager. He just had a couple of interviews like everybody else. Fonseca had 3 interviews. Eddie Howe had 3 interviews. So it was all part of that process. But because of that, and because his length of potential contract of 2.5 years was put out there, I think Eddie Howe's come back and said, look, if you're going to offer that to Unai Emery, I need to be offered the same thing. And rightly so. So, look, I'm excited. I like Eddie Howe's body of work. Yes, he got relegated with Bournemouth, but to take them from League 2 into the Premier League. Now, bearing in mind, a lot of people don't know this. In League 2, they were deducted 17 points, and he still kept them up that season in League 2. Then he took them from League 2 all the way to the Premier League and spent 5 years in the Premier League. Now, that doesn't go unnoticed to me. That is a manager that's clearly capable. And he's only 43 years old. He's only been managing 10 years. So he's still got lots of room to grow and to improve. Now, I've watched him at Bournemouth. I like the fact that he's got a front foot mentality. He likes to attack teams. Yes, he concedes, but he has a mindset and a structure in the way he likes to play. And we're sick of this 5 at the back, sitting in, letting teams press us, have all the ball, and hope that we don't concede. All that will be gone as of tomorrow morning when Eddie Howe takes the reign, because he's going to be a guy that's going to be like, right, we're going to play attacking football. So the likes of Alan St. Maximin are going to be happy about this. Callum Wilson's going to get chances created. Ryan Fraser, who he worked with at Bournemouth, who's not been given a chance under Bruce, is going to start playing. I mean, hell, a season before we signed him, he was up there with Eden Hazard with the most assists in the Premier League.
But then Eddie stopped playing him though at Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah, because he wouldn't sign a contract.
He didn't stop playing.
They had the standoff.
Basically, what was happening is that Ryan Fraser was going to leave on a free at the end of that season anyway. So obviously they're playing out the season. When COVID hit, basically between that lockdown period, his contract effectively ran out, and a number of other players in other teams' contracts ran out. But what other players did is agree to continue playing and finishing the season. Ryan Fraser refused because he didn't want it to ruin his chances of moving to another team. Tottenham were massively linked with him, so were Arsenal. And what that did is obviously that effectively put Bournemouth down because they lost their most creative player. But I think that hit his reputation. And I think the other clubs, like the Tottenhams and Arsenal, looked at that and thought, maybe that's not the right player for us. So, some of the things are his fault, but also when Bruce has had him, he's not played him. And I think Eddie Howe could get the best out of him, as he could get the best out of Matt Ritchie, who he worked with as well, and obviously Callum Wilson. So I think there's a body of work there that he can really work with and get the most out of. I mean, look, but before Steve Bruce got sacked after the Tottenham game, in the run up to that Tottenham game, we had out of 11 days, we had 7 days off training. Steve Bruce has never had a full week of training from Monday to Friday before a game on Saturday in the time that he's been at the club. He'll have 2 or 3 days off in that 5-day week. That's unheard of at elite level. That's unheard of. These players are unfit. So Eddie Howe's going to come in, he's going to rip up the playbook that's currently there and say, this is how I want to play. So as fans, we're really, really excited to see what he's going to do. But look, there's no doubt we're in a relegation battle. We've got a lot that we need to do right now to ensure that our Premier League status is secure. We need to get to, in my opinion, January, the January transfer window. We've got a tough run of 10 games or so. We need to get to January at around 15, 20 points. We've got our games coming up: Brentford at home, Burnley at home, Norwich at home, Arsenal coming up away. Then we've got Leicester away. So we've got 5 games there, certainly the 3 at home, where we could be picking up points against teams we would expect to beat. And so it's a great way for Eddie Howe to really get going. Then we get into Man City at home, Man United at home, Everton away. It's a tough December, let's face it. But if we can get there around sort of 15 points to 20 points, we're going to invest in January for the first time in a long time. We're actually going to really invest in players. I'm not talking 200 million. We'll probably spend 60, 70 million, but get a few loans in, a few higher profile loans in. Mike Ashley wouldn't even pay 5 million for Axel Tuanzebe, who eventually then went to Aston Villa because his loan fee was 5 million. That's out the window now. We're going to get players in that are going to improve us. And then it's a case of, right, can we get to 40 points? Can we stay in the league? So I still believe there's a chance. And then what you'll properly find from Newcastle as a club and our direction is what we do in next summer if we stay in the league. Director of football will come in, and then when we're on a level playing field with everyone else on 0 points, we can then go and properly invest because we can sell players the project. So that's kind of, in a short little statement from me, that's where we've been as a Newcastle fan base. This is where we currently are, and this is where we could be, at the end of this season.
Do you think there are some questions here? There was one here that talked about Eddie Howe, spending
wasting money.
poorly. Wasting money and spending poorly. So with that question in mind, do you think Eddie Howe is here for the long term, or is he sort of like a stopgap?
When this takeover was mooted to take place, it was always a case that was going to be phases of management. I talked about Mikel Arteta from an Arsenal point of view as being a sort of a phase 1. Eddie Howe will be a phase 1. How long Eddie Howe is that phase 1 is determined on how he performs, basically. So if he performs well, if he keeps us in the league comfortably, he'll be given another season. If he does well in that season, he may then be given a little bit more. If he doesn't have a great season or doesn't hit the heights that we maybe want, and I'm not talking Europe or Champions League, I'm talking heights of maybe pushing for a mid-table finish. If he's not doing that, then I think we'll look at someone else to then take us to that next level. But I think he's capable of it. I think, he's a good young English manager that needs to be given an opportunity to apply his trade with some backing of the ownership and with the funding, because, we've got a big fan base. We are a big club waiting to become bigger. We just need the opportunity to rise. It will all depend on his performances, I think.
And you know what?
Go on.
I was just going to say real quick on Eddie Howe. It's nice. This situation right here, right, is really, really almost like the perfect thing that we should all as football fans want to see, right? Because you see managers like this get linked with, say, the Arsenal job, for example, or say even the United job. But when you see young, good managers and then they start getting linked with these top, no disrespect to Newcastle, I'm a long-standing City fan, so I can relate to you massively. But when you see them get linked to these jobs and you think, do you know what? That's too much. There's too much of a jump, right? And to expect that you're going to go and give a manager like that 200 million instantly and go and spend that and then spend it correctly. You give me 200 million, I'm going to go and splash it all on stupid shit, right? Because I've never had 200 million to spend before. So it's almost like the perfect thing that, like you said, he's being given the base to grow. It's almost like, here you go. You're going to be given more backing than you've ever been given before. But we're going to back you realistically on what we want you to achieve. Now, that's good as well, because with City, maybe when we got our money, we were not that much. We weren't bigger than Newcastle, but our position in the league was better at the time.
Yeah.
But if you look at generally the breed of players that we brought in, certainly the big name players we brought in, they all failed massively. They weren't good. It's Company came in just before the money. I think Zabaleta did as well. But ultimately, a lot of the players we bought when we first got money, they were just hungry.
Joe, Elano, etc.
Robinho,
yeah.
Adebayor. To be fair, Bellamy
Don't
was
get me
quite
started, man.
good, but there's a lot of them, and
Nasri.
Yeah, Nasri was all right though, but there was some that were really bad.
You're right, though.
Really, really bad. And I do think with Newcastle, as long as your boards, but by the sound, you know more about your club and what you're saying, it sounds like actually this is a fucking lovely project. That your board's got expectations not to be winning the league tomorrow.
Just finish, because I got some questions, but I want Pete to answer first.
Pete, ask your questions then quickly, because we're gonna have to wrap up now.
Okay, cool.
It's just absolutely right, Daps. Just in terms of you're right in terms of this is a project. These guys, it's not just been the last 18 months they've been trying to buy this club. It's the last 4 years they've been trying to buy this club. They spent 2 years effectively trying to agree a deal with Mike Ashley, and then the other 2 years they've been actually trying to fight the Premier League to get this deal signed off. They've been fighting for this, so they know this is not a short-term deal. That this is Project 2030 that they've talked about in terms of redeveloping themselves within Saudi Arabia into the football and sports world. So, look, Richie Rich was said in the chat, we still don't know the ownership strategy. The strategy was out there from day one. They talked about it on Sky Sports News the day it was announced. In terms of they are slowly building this club. They want to, in the next 5 to 7 years, be challenging for Europe. In the next 5 to 10 years, they want to be in a position where they can win the Premier League. That is the strategy. But the strategy from year to year is basically this year, stay in the league. Next year, can we build to mid-table? The year after that, can we approach Europe? The year after that, can we then take on and be a better club further than that? They've already laid out the strategy. Now, the signings that you talked about, Man City, the key signings for me that Man City made are the likes of Shay Given when they took him off us.
Yeah, great signing.
Craig Bellamy, Gareth Barry, James Milner, Jolie Lescott. They bought a bulk of British or English quality players that know the league and know how to play well in this league to build them up. And then they built European quality players around it. So I fully expect in January, we've been heavily linked with the likes of Tarkowski at Burnley, who's a very, very good defender. His contract's out in the summer. He wants to leave, and we've been heavily linked with him. So there's a player like that. We've also been talking about the likes of someone like Connor Cody at Wolves, who's a talented player.
That's a great.
We've been linked with the likes of James Ward-Prowse. He's just signed a 5-year deal, but we've got the money to put down there to say, we want you, we can sell you the project, come and play for us, keep us in the league, then take us forward. It's players like that I'm expecting to see in January and certainly into the summer with the likes of young players. I mean, I'm looking at the likes of Renato Sanchez at Lille, who's a supremely talented, 23, 24 years of age, Portugal, not playing for a highly reputable team. We've got the money to slap down to say, come and play for us and build in the project.
I'd be weary of him, you know.
We can go and pick off. Luka Jovic at Real Madrid, not getting a game. We can pluck him on loan and say, we can pay your wages, come and play for us, can we build you, and then do you want to come and sign for us in the summer? Players like that I'm looking at that are thinking that are realistic that we can go to because we've got financial money and we can sell them a project. They're looking at our league table right now and that's fine, but we can say, look, beyond that, there's a chance to really build in this club and build something big alongside some of those English-based players.
Pete, I've seen you linked to guys like, I've seen Newcastle fans name names like Trippier, like Lingard, Van der Beek, Sewell, Stones. Do you think those are realistic?
Stones go away. Stones ain't going nowhere. He's just signed a new contract, 250 bags a week. Leave him alone.
That's actually
I do believe someone like John Stones is a player that would like to put a statement down, but I don't think you'll see that until the summer, if I'm honest with you. That's why I mentioned the likes of Connor Cody and Tarkowski. Jesse Lingard, we've been heavily linked with. I know West Ham wants him, but they struggled to get the money together. We've got the money. We can pay it. Donny van der Beek, we would love. I know a lot of Newcastle fans are excited about that, but Everton are also after him, and Everton are also financially able to pay that deal or in a better position. So it's likely that he's going to go there. We've been linked with people like Coutinho, who Barcelona want out. Trippier
Trippier's a good one.
Trippier is a good player, but Man United were quoted 40 million for him in the summer. For me, we've already got another right back there. And for me, if I'm honest with you, there are other players that I'd want to strengthen. Centre back position.
Who's your captain at the moment?
Jamal Lascelles is in defence. He's not playing well at the moment.
He got dropped.
I think that's huge. The one thing that we got was with Vincent Kompany is to get a captain that buys into the project at a kind of, I think when he joined us, he was about 23, 24. But get one of them guys that buys into the project, buys into the city of Newcastle is massive, and can kind of help to also sell the project to other people as well. That's massive.
Yeah. And that's what we need. We lack leaders in this team, and that's what we need to do. We need to build and create leaders. Someone like Connor Cody, Tarkowski, getting those type of players in. Someone like a James Ward-Prowse, who's a captain at Southampton. You've got potentially 3 leaders there that are coming into a team that are going to be able to say, right, let's do this, let's move forward. And it's going to rejuvenate players.
I mean, just before we go, because
hit your question, Corinne, and then we're gonna. I know you look like you changed location there.
Yeah. Internet was going crazy, so I've moved to a different location. So this is good. Actually, Patrick can answer this as well because both of you are in the same position right now in terms of you need big January.
No. We just let Pete answer it. Otherwise, we're going to run on till tomorrow.
No, but the thing is, Pete is the question is that Pete. Patrick was a chime in, he could chime in, but you need big Januaries. You want to stay in the league, and you need to get the players you mentioned with Ward-Prowses, Cody's, these kinds of players, right? So. My thing is my issue with January. We've had this at Arsenal as well, with last summer. When you have a squad of 25 players, it's not, especially in January. It's a question of you have to get one in to get one out. You can't just be buying players because there's just going to be players on the books that you can't move on to fit them in the squad. Is that a worry for you that you're not going to be able to, because people are going to try and take you for a ride? Be like, we know you need to sell these players. We know you need to move them on. Try and make it difficult. Or maybe the players themselves want to make it difficult because of the new regime that's come through now. And the second part of that is, I understand, because I respect Eddie Howe as well. I would have loved him for a mid-table job. I think he's a great manager. But you guys are in a relegation fight, and in a relegation fight, you need to have a solid defense. And I understand what you're saying about how the free-flowing football, and I would love to see Eddie Howe really prosper and thrive at Newcastle, because I do like the manager. I loved him at Bournemouth. But the question is, do you think he's defensively secure enough to make sure that you can get the points that you need to get against a Norwich, a Burnley, a Brentford? You know, these kind of teams that are in the lower half of the league to keep you up.
You know what? It's a great question, but I'll answer the other bit first in terms of, you know, our squad's full. We've already got the 25. However, we've got a lot of players, certainly a number of players that are out of contract in the summer, but also we've got a lot of players that are on shorter term contracts who are not playing and can easily move on. So I'll name a couple for you: Dwight Gale, Kieran Clark, Federico Fernandez. There's just three to start with. You've got Freddie Woodman. We put 4 goalkeepers into our 25-man squad because Dubravka was injured. He's now back now, so Freddie Woodman will go out on loan. We've got the likes of Jeff Hendricks. You know, players like that are not going to get a place in this team moving forward. So with that, we've got room to maneuver. We've got 4, 5, maybe even 6 players that we can move out and bring 5 or 6 players that are actually going to improve the first 11 to move in. Now, I don't think there'll be an issue with. I don't think you're going to see us going out spending 50, 60 million on players. It's not going to be our way. But what we're going to do is we're going to get a number of loans, particularly maybe in Europe, and then get some of those players that are running out of contract that could make an instant impact into this team on a cheaper deal. So we could get the likes of Tarkowski between 12 and 15 million potentially, because his contract's out in the summer. So that's not a massive deal there. Connor Cody still got a little bit to run on his contract, but could get for a little bit less. There are players out there, you know, James Ward-Prowse was an example, but would maybe have to pay a little bit more. That's not a concern for me. In terms of the defensive side of things, Eddie Howe's defensive record isn't great, I have to be honest. However, it's going to be significantly better for us because he plays front foot football. Mm-hmm. He likes to attack teams. His philosophy is always about attacking the other team and setting up a team of players, the first 11, to go and attack the other team. Our attacking players, we've got quality in those attacking
You really
areas.
do. Wilson, St. Maximin, it's a lot, yeah.
Wilson, St. Maximin, Fraser, Miguel Almiron. Okay, those guys have been spent the last 2 years just defending and tracking back. Now they've got a manager that's going to say, you know what, go forward. And he's going to push the team higher up. So we're not going to see sitting behind the ball anymore. We're going to see attacking teams. And I think it's going to surprise some teams that we play against, particularly at home, in that we're not going to just sit back and just soak it up and just allow teams to have 80% possession, which Chelsea had last week, or have, 60% like Brighton had yesterday. We're not going to allow teams to have that anymore. So I think you're going to see a surprise from how we perform and how we come out as a team in the weeks to come. So it's not just about the goals conceded. It's about actually, can we be more of a threat the other way? And if we are, and we score more goals, that could be just as good as being tight at the back.
Wicked. Yeah. You may do the Liverpool approach when Klopp first came in, but yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when Eddie Howe takes over, and also to see how this project plays out in the next 5 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be, and it's good to hear you talking, Pete, because you're level-headed. This is a long-term thing. There are 1 or 2 probably kids out there that think this is going to be fantasy football and you lot are going to be winning the league in a couple of years, but it's a long-term project, man. But
and he's going to come across a lot more of them over the next. Trust me, as a City fan, I'm telling you now, the 2 things you're going to come across is plastic fans that just think that everything's been rosy forever, that do your head in. And the second thing is enjoy while people are happy for you, because when you start winning stuff, it all changes.
Already prepared, Naps. Already prepared. It's already there.
Good. We're gonna have to wrap up now. It's been a really long one, longer than anticipated, but there was a lot to get through, so it was always going to be a long one. Thank you very much to all my guests. If we can please all just let them know who you are, where they can find you, starting with yourself, Curran, please.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at CurranBOP. My YouTube is Ball Over Passion, and thank you for having me. There's been 3 managers sacked since Spurs have had a lot of shot on target, so it's good to see you all, you guys. Great to be around, and thank you for having me on. We'll hope to get some of you on ours as well, because it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys.
Big up. Pete, please sign out, and thank you very much for waiting so long, but also delivering us some insightful chat on Newcastle, man. You know your club, you know your stuff, so see what happens. But yeah, let the people know who you are, where they can find you.
Firstly, thank you for allowing me to have my debut with you guys tonight. It's been amazing. Really enjoy the chat, talking all football, not just Newcastle with you guys. Top guys. Look forward to hopefully many more in the weeks to come. But yeah, you've got my Twitter address at Daves 2010. You can see me on Loaded HQ, on Loaded Mag throughout the week. Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. But also, I also work for another Newcastle podcast called True Faith, and I'm a part of their match days. So I do their match day podcast as well. So I'm mic'd up on match days. You can hear me venting my frustrations on the terraces and then talk about it later on. But you'll see me mostly on Loaded Mag with the other 4 boys. We're just 5 dads that love the club and just talk football, just as we've done tonight.
Brilliant. Nice one, man. Daps, let the people them know about you.
It's never a foul. I'm going to take my time to just really quickly, and you might have done this before I came, but I just want to send a massive shout out to Ash and say that we're all with you 100%.
Yeah. I didn't actually want to draw attention to him.
No, sorry,
but no, I hear you. I hear you.
That's all. And also great show. Lovely chatting with all you guys. 100%. Kuran and Pete, first time. Patrick, you look really moody tonight.
I'm cool,
he does,
man.
innit? He does. I've thought the same thing.
Put the bally back on. If you're not gonna smile, wear the bally again, bruv. Come
on. I agree. He doesn't want to be here, Daps. That's what it is.
And I know you want to go to bed so you can hit gym in the morning. So
you joker. But Daps, let them know where they can find you.
Never a foul, or Twitter Daps MCFC, but never a foul most importantly. Always.
Wicked. Shout out to Never a Foul.
And thanks for having me. As always.
Let them know.
You what, sorry?
Over to you.
Sorry, no, I didn't hear you. Yeah. Shout out to my Italian family, my Italian mafia. We here, baby. We here. Let's go.
With 1 point.
Yeah, no, I'm happy, man. I'm good. Had a great show, great podcast. I didn't hear that, so I just didn't know that. But, yeah, man. No, it's been a pleasure being on with all you guys, intelligent guys that know your football. It's always a pleasure chopping it up. And obviously you can find me here. This is my main channel, but I'm also on the Coys.com podcast every Monday. And I'm also on the Top 6 show, which is on the TFT channel every Monday and Thursday. So yeah, man, let's go. Let's do this.
Wicked. Lovely people. Thank you all for your comments. There's been loads of comments today, loads of engagement. Again, if you are new, hit the subscribe button and please do give us a like because it does help the channel grow. I'm your host. I'm Semps at LSemps on Twitter if you want to hear more about what I've got to say. And this was Everyone's a Pundit, man. These were my Pundits, people. Until next week, we are out. Hope you all have a blessed week. Bless up.